I don't know. I don't know where to start now. I hadn't heard that clip before. That who was he? The former Conservative Party treasurer saying this bloke can't be a racist because he's been abroad. That's a huge get-off for the international slave. He can't possibly be a racist, that massive slaver over there, because he used to sail his ships to Africa to pick up human cargo. I'm a bit discombobulated, actually. I thought I knew where I was going to go at the beginning of the show this morning, and I thought I was going to tell you something about presenting radio phone-ins in a medium that has historically been quite racist. But I don't, because I thought... God, I don't know what this is. Naivety, white privilege, idealism, patheticness, ignorance. I thought this was a story that was, if you like, indefensible. I honestly thought, because, I've done this job now for 20 years. I have experienced colleagues examining instances and examples of blatant and rancid racism and turning them into phone-ins about whether it's white people, always, whether it's really racist, or, gosh, why don't these people just get over themselves? Or, oh, God, everyone's playing... And few people have been on the receiving end of more of that abuse in public life in those 20 years than Diane Abbott, a politician for whom I have immense admiration on one level, for what she has achieved, for the doors that she has opened, for the travails that she has faced. But I am not actually a fan of the third act of her political career, which I think was... deeply regrettable. That's my political opinion. But you know what? I'm not a fan of Kemi Badenoch. But if someone said that she makes me hate all black women, I would gallop to her defence. I'm not particularly... I don't know James Cleverly's mum. But if someone were to come out and say that she makes me want to hate all black women, and if I see her on the television, I think she should be shot... I'd be uncontainable in my fury on his behalf and my defence of British values in this sort of context. So I honestly thought that a man saying that Diane Abbott should be shot and that she made him, quotes, just want to hate all black women, represented a Rubicon of sorts. I honestly thought that it would be impossible for me to come on air today and feel a patriotic responsibility to push back against people claiming that this isn't racist. I have often felt like that at 10 o'clock in the morning during the course of my career on this radio station. I have often thought that it falls to me today to say, please stop pretending this isn't disgusting. Please stop pretending that this is evidence of unfounded grievances. But I honestly thought that this was such an obvious... Do you know what? It's so gross, I'm not even going to use the word egregious, which I use about 40 times a day. This is just gross. It's actually... do you know, when Sadiq Khan was sat here last week and he used the word heartbreaking, because I do what I do for a living, there's a little bit of me that thinks politicians that go there are taking quite big risks. They are exposing themselves. They are exposing their vulnerabilities. But I've interviewed Sadiq Khan more times than I can remember, more times than I've interviewed any other politician. He comes in every month, as you know, and answers your calls. A decision based in part on the fact that other people were full square behind Zach Goldsmith's racist mayoral campaign back when he first ran for office. And I've never seen him like that before. And I still, as a white man, can't quite get my head around the use of the word heartbreaking because it becomes so personal. But I believed him. His tone was unique in all the times that I've had him in the studio. Because what Lee Anderson said was profoundly and disgustingly racist. To say that because of your origins, because of your if you like, characteristics over which you have no control, because of the family and the skin that you were born into, you must be a terrorist or a terrorist sympathizer or in the pocket of Hamas supporters. So all of the subtext of what 30p belched is clear to see. And you just felt, and I didn't get it today, I don't owe Sadiq Khan an apology, but I didn't fully understand until today what he meant by heartbroken. because it meant, I think, that he was still surprised. I won't tell you the contents of the inboxes in these studios when politicians like Sadiq Khan and Diane Abbott are either in our company or under discussion. They make your Twitter feed look positively saccharine, right? These people are out there. There are not as many of them as we sometimes fear, but the idea that they are confined to the lower orders or the socio-economic fringes of society is probably the most disgusting lie that right-wing politicians have ever told in this country. People that went to public school, people that have inherited wealth, people that run multi-million pound companies are as, if not more likely to be possessed of the sort of disgusting opinions voiced by this monstrous man, Frank Hester, as anybody else in the country. People like Rishi Sunak like to push people like Lee Anderson to the front of the crowd and pretend that he somehow represents working class values, that pursuing the racist vote is somehow a class-based decision, when it is, of course, nothing of the sort. But until today, I thought there were lines that you could not cross. I really did. It's why I'm more upset and more angry this morning than I was last night. And listen, don't get me wrong, I am white. God knows what I'd be feeling today if I was not. But for a man who gave £5 million to the Tory Party last year and £5 million to the Tory Party this year, to remark that Diane Abbott should be shot is a new dawn, I'm afraid. It's a place I never thought we'd go to. And I've written bloody books about how far and how fast we have fallen. And then I came into the studio and heard this man, Lord Marland, a former Tory Party treasurer, speaking to our very own Henry Riley earlier this morning. And I realised I was wrong. I realised there are people out there who are going to pretend that describing Diane Abbott as somebody who makes you want to hate all black women, is somehow immune from accusations of sexism or racism. And that calling for an elected politician to be shot is somehow not extremism. So, for a moment, for a nanosecond, indulge me, please. And imagine a banner at a pro-Palestinian peace march last weekend that said, very simply, Kemi Badenoch should be shot. What would happen? Where would that story be today? Because the story about Diane Abbott, said by a Tory Party donor, not some random Anorak Herbert on a march surrounded by people who find his banner as disgusting as you do, a Tory Party donor, a £10 million Tory Party donor, saying in company that Diane Abbott should be shot. Where would the story be today if it had been a banner about a black Tory politician on a Palestinian peace march? Where would it be? Because the Mail's got it filed away, tucked away somewhere in the back of the paper. Ditto the Times, ditto the Telegraph. So I don't know what to do today on the radio, because I don't know how you have a conversation about somebody being obviously and disgustingly racist when they are being defended by colleagues who claim that they're not. I mean, this is a moment that I have described to you in an almost theoretical sense over the years, when I have quoted 1984 and I've said to you, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength, war is peace. And I've always done it sincerely, but never thinking that we've quite got there. You had that front page of the Daily Express last week, Kemi Badenoch, claiming that Brexit's going brilliantly and it's made billions of pounds for the country. And now you've got a man saying that that a black woman makes him want to hate all black women. And his defence is that it's got nothing to do with race or gender. I don't know how you handle this as a phone-in show. Well, what do you do? It's a bit like having a phone-in show about whether the moon is really made of cheese. Oh, here's Doris in Ongar to tell us that the moon is actually made. Who defends this monster? Who defends? I'll tell you, Lord Marland defends him. Lord Marland, who I'm not particularly familiar with, but I will be by the end of the next break. Lord Marland defends him like this.
He's an international businessman. He travels widely overseas. He does a lot of business in Jamaica. He does business in Malaysia, in Bangladesh and places like that. So he's not a racist. He made some unfortunate remarks which do sound racist, and quite rightly he's apologised for them.
So he's not a racist because he's been to the Caribbean. He's not a racist. Oh, he's made some unfortunate remarks that do sound racist. I'm not even sure who the worst is. Do you want to hear Mel Stride, the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions? Here he is earlier this morning.
Well, it's clear that what he said was inappropriate. He has, as I understand it, apologised for those remarks. I think the critical point here is I don't think what he was saying was a gender-based or a race-based comment, but it was clearly inappropriate. He has apologised, and I think we need to move on from that.
She makes me want to hate all black women. And I think the black woman, should be shot, but it's not a gender-based or a race-based comment. Mel Stride, Secretary of State for Work and Pensions, not some branch manager of the BNP or a National Front Tribute Act. Secretary of State for Work and Pensions. And here's your Minister for Energy Security and Net Zero, also on Sky News. Actually, I'll play, it's quite a long clip, this, and it's even worse than the two you've already heard. So how do you do a phone-in on this? How do you do a phone-in on this without adding something to the idea that it is a debate, that it's an argument, that it's a conversation? How do you do it? Well, that's my problem. That's my problem. And the next time you hear my voice, I'll have an answer to that question, because that's what they pay me to do. But right now, I have no words.